Alexandra, great to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Thank you so much. So great to see you.
I'm really excited to chat with you about the Pitt. I mean, it's crazy because all the episodes are finally out. And I feel like, it was one of those crazy shows where it was like you were filming it kind of like the cast was filming it as episodes were rolling out, right? And I just feel like because it's been like 15 episodes week to week, I feel like it's been like months on the Pitt. Is it crazy that they're already like they're all out now?
It's bananas, honestly. It's so crazy. It feels like a whole life was lived in that, we started in June of last year, shot through February, and then for it to just all be out in the world and people buzzing with, the excitement and talking about it. And, there's a new wave of people now who are watching it. Now that everyone's seen the entire season, they're really spreading the word saying, no, verified. I was pretty sure I was obsessed with the show, like from episode 1. And then I was really sure in the middle. And then by the end, they're just like, no, please, everyone needs to watch this so we can talk about it.
Absolutely. And you've done a few interviews and I've interviewed your cast and there's a lot about kind of like actually filming it and everything. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because I find it interesting, is, and we could dive into it a little bit more because the episodes are out. And I remember when I was talking to a lot of your cast, I have seen the episodes. Well, it's funny because I've seen the episodes, but they weren't out. So I wasn't sure when I wanted to put them out. I didn't want to wait. You know what I mean? But
good man.
But the last couple of episodes, right? There's a really big kind of event. There's a shooting at a music festival, and there is all these patients being rushed in, and there's that episode of the preparation and everything of when they're going to come in. And I'm wondering, because it's interesting, right? Because we see that as like, 1 or 2 episodes, but like when you filmed a lot of those sequences, those were like scenes, some of those scenes probably took like 2 weeks or like maybe a week or so, right? Some of these big scenes.
No, not at all, actually. I mean, it depends on what scene you're talking about specifically, but no, all the scenes that you see, even though there's a lot going on, it's because there's so many people who are incredibly competent at what they're doing to say, okay, this is what needs to happen in this.
For sure.
There's a lot of
let's say we see you. Let's say we see you and Santos for like 2 minutes on screen, right? Let's say that whole sequence probably was like a couple of days to shoot, maybe.
No.
Okay, interesting.
No,
that's interesting.
No, yeah. I mean, like even the scenes in which you're seeing them work on MCI 1 and then they're moving to the next patient. All of that is being shot in a day.
Yeah.
Especially because they're threading these scenes together. It makes sense that if, they won't try to, it's not like a oneer, obviously. So they're not going to tie too many scenes together to overwhelm people.
Yep.
But no, yeah, definitely they're doing what's most efficient. And what makes sense is we have everyone here, down to the background actors who are doing an incredible job filling in the back parts and making it feel really alive. So let's just get it now,
There's gonna be, it's interesting, right? Because when you get scripts for the Pitt, even before you go film it, I feel like there's 2 things that maybe come to mind from an acting perspective. Obviously, you're looking at like your scenes and like preparation for your stuff and the relationships and the kind of the back and forth of you and like Dr. Santos and everything. But you're also like thinking about the story and the whole sequences as a whole, right? How do you balance that specifically? Because those are 2 different kind of mindsets in a lot of ways, right? Like your stuff, but then the whole story.
Yeah, I mean, as reading the script first and foremost, you're looking at the story and realizing, okay, it's really realistically told. Yep. There's no fluff. It feels like a documentary. So it really puts you in the mindset of, even if I'm not in that scene is informing the tone and keeping you consistent when you are looking at your scenes. But for the most part, I'm really just focusing on my scenes.
Yep.
If there's something that comes up that might give me information about my character, if someone's talking about you, as an actor, often you look at how people talk about you, how you talk about yourself in order to inform your performance. That might be beneficial, but really those other scenes, let's say something's being said about Langdon that's not drug related, like how he is, I might gather some information about his character, but also Garcia already knows how she works with Langdon based on how it's written when we interact with one another.
So that's a perfect segue, because one of the biggest scenes in the show is Dr. Garcia and Dr. Santos, where you're pulled aside, right, about what's essentially like there's that scene about well, there's a lot of scenes about the drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, right, you're bad, right? Or I forgot what the line is. It's like,
you're trouble.
You're trouble. Yes.
You're trouble.
That's a big scene because
Yeah.
you're very supportive of the new kind of doctors and new recruits and everything, but you're also like professional, right? And you're trained to say, this is not good what's happening. So did that feel like a ping pong match of like, I wouldn't say emotions, but like preparing for that? Because like you have to like, you like her as a person and you like want her to succeed, but you're just like, this is bad. Like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I'd describe it as a ping pong match, but I like that energy. Yeah, basically, I mean, you're looking at a scene in which there are a lot of layers. This is it's her first day. It's Santos's first day, and she's made quite the impression on Garcia. But it's also concerning that she's already trying to stir the pot.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a tricky thing where it's a teaching hospital. Certainly, we're going to have conversations that are difficult and teach people how to operate properly in order to be an efficient hospital. But I think it really is more like towing a line more than it is ping pong.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there a lot of conversations specifically with, like, what are the conversations like with your cast that you have a lot of scenes with compared to some that like you might cross paths with? Like, are all the conversations like similar? Are they different? Like, I'm just wondering about that, right? Because everyone's kind of like just thrown in at times, right? And like you do life.
Yeah. You mean in terms of how we relate to one another?
Absolutely,
if we're talking
yes.
scenes or things outside of set?
Scenes specifically. Like, are there a lot of conversations? Because a lot of that prep happens before too.
It does, but I was really delightfully surprised at how much conversation there was around craft. And, you know, if we were in a big pocket of downtime, you know, conversation would come up around process and for what an individual, and also for how we would operate in the scene together, or what we were thinking. You know, you don't want to show too many of your cards. You want to live in the moment and be surprised and in the scene and be present to what's happening, to react to what's happening. But it's really fun when those conversations arise, because us as actors, we love talking about this stuff. You know, we've come from different schools of thought. Everyone's got a really different background and, you know, slice of life to bring what they're bringing to their character. So yeah, that stuff is so delicious, especially when we have a little bit of time for it. But also when one person's like, oh, I don't know, it's really nice to be able to lean on each other and say like, hey, real quick before we shoot this, what do you think? And everyone's just so down to chat and share.
When you wrap a project, there's going to be different emotions, and I feel like it's going to be different every time. I feel like an actor loves to work and an actor wants to be like, hey, what's the next project? Let's go. But sometimes it's going to be very exhausting, and it was a big shoot and it was a big character and everything, and you want to take a break. What was that like for you specifically on the Pit when you officially wrapped?
Oh my God, it was so sad. I mean, you're in the midst of it for so long, and it's like, it's a grind of sorts where you have to be mentally, emotionally, physically prepared to show up and do your job and not let yourself or anyone else down, and meet the opportunity, meet the occasion. And you're so consumed with that, or I should speak for myself. I was so consumed by that when it was done, it's just like, it's so abrupt. I mean, it's such a shift in my day-to-day, my schedule, but also like the interactions I was having, the use of craft and getting to tell story in that way and with those really special people. It's a sharp turn that I had to just, you know, figure out, okay, what do I do with my life now? There were occasions where I had to go back to set for different reasons, to visit, or we had like a little secret Santa, for instance, and because I was finished by episode 12 and that finished by December. So I was done before the new year. And I was just always excited. I was like, oh, good, I still have Secret Santa. Thank God, I'll be back and I'll get to like see everyone. And I love sitting and watching, going to Video Village. And that's something I would do sometimes on my off days as well, when I was still working up until episode 12, because I just loved learning so much from everyone, especially Noah as the number one, who's just got so much experience, so much to handle as an actor. And also the tone that he sets on set, like it's just so wonderful. He's such a wonderful mentor and presence that it was amazing. I would just go there on my days off. So you can tell from the fact that I was spending my days off when I didn't have to be there to then wrapping that it was probably a really difficult transition. But we still hung out outside of set, and I would still get, stories of what happened in today's shoot. And it's just such a wonderful community of artists.
And I find it interesting too, right? Because so much happens like once you go to production on a project. And I feel like you're always going to have kind of this idea of the character, but then it's very fascinating, right? When like it starts where you get like the sides and the scripts, but then you actually go and play this character and it's interesting, right? How did Dr. Garcia read compared to like playing her afterwards? Like, was it like the read of like how she was that consistent, would you say, throughout the process of filming and playing her? Or was there a lot more you learned after kind of reading the script, going and actually filming it?
Well, certainly you learn more as you're given more to do, and little things, little interactions kind of color your history with certain people and the relationships at large. But no, I think that she pretty much played pretty close to how she was written in the pilot. And, it's a script that so many people in LA and New York and wherever else wanted to audition for. And it was a lot of people's favorite character because of how she's just a badass. She's written, she walks in, she gets shit done, she leaves. I don't know if I can curse. I'm sure I can curse, right?
Of course. You can fucking curse.
All right, my man. I'm in New York right now. I'm like, I'm talking here.
Oh my God, I remember those. I'm walking here. I remember those.
All right. I'm going to really unleash.
Do you remember Vine before TikTok? Vine?
Kind of, yes.
Vine was like the best because I feel like Vine was just all like there's comedy on TikTok, but like TikTok was like all
I'm not
dancing.
on TikTok.
What? Vine was just like funny.
Yep, totally. So many people got their start in Vine. Yes. So many comedians, and it was a great format for that.
100%. Yeah, you were cussing.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
No, it's like you just kind of
the paper to plane.
Yeah,
yes.
100%. Yeah.
No. I mean, the writers. It's a testament to the writing on this show. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's not only medically accurate. It's so natural and realistic. The relationships. It's not like any other medical show out there. It's like a documentary, and so that was really fun to just do what I was being told to do and bring that to life. And also, of course, I have my own little influences that I saw through the lines. And when I was first, luckily introduced to Garcia through my audition, I was like, I know exactly the amalgamation of doctors and personalities that I would love to play with in
Absolutely. This. We know we're going to get season 2 of The Pitt. And, we know that there was some rumblings online about it being like 4th of July, which is insane. Confirmed. Yeah. I think about like 30 sequences in my head about accidents already. Like, you know what I mean? I guess we just have to wait, but I feel like maybe 1 or 2 of them. I mean, I just think about firecrackers, to be honest with you. Don't get
me started on firecrackers. I'm like Cate Blanchett is with leaf blowers to firecrackers. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Cate Blanchett hates leaf blowers. I don't understand fireworks unless it's like sanctioned and for everyone to enjoy in one area. But yeah, it just hurts so many people.
There might or might not be someone that comes into the pit involving, a firecracker. I don't know. That's just my prediction.
Absolutely. Yeah. The really dumbass accidents that occur when, people don't either read the directions or, who knows, are a little tipsy when dealing with fireworks.
Yeah, I know.
And also they fall over and they're just not, you shouldn't be handling it. They're not play toys.
And we're going to get more Pitt when we get more Pitt. But you know what? All 15 episodes are streaming now on Max, so they can check it out, which is great. You did a great job as Dr. Garcia, by the way. I love that character.
So much.
And I hope we can learn more about that character in future seasons. Fingers crossed, because that'd be great. Yes. And Alexandra, so great chatting with you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, likewise. You're lovely.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Your Instagram account is where people keep up to date with everything, right?
Uh-huh.
Is it just your name?
It's Metzaball Soup. My last name is Metz, M-E-T-Z, like a baseball team, but with a Z. And I'm half Jewish, so Metzaball Soup for multiple soup.
Awesome. Well, this has been Pop Turner. YouTube.com/Pop Turner previous episodes. Until next time, this is Alexandra Metz and Peter Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.